Hey, what's going on? Brian Tragic back once again. Um, just wanted to give my views on what's happening in the wrestling world right now. This is actually on Sunday, so Raw hasn't happened. I've been kind of doing this lately where I kind of do a crazy wrestling review like before wrestling happens this week and to kind of give my input on what happened on TNA Impact. So this week on Impact, there was TNA. Some things happened. Things went down. Basically, you heard the announcement, and this is basically coming from the Tree Woe or the Off the Rope show. So, any news? This is basically giving my opinion. So, Off the Rope show watched it. I watched their video, and basically, I'm reviewing or I'm giving my comments on what happened via what they said. So, hopefully, they said everything that actually happened. Anyway, because I know the YWC, a lot of people watch Off the Rope show and they really respect them. I like them too. I enjoy watching them as long as they actually give reviews of the product. Anyway, moving on. Off the Rope show, awesome. Check them out if you haven't heard of them. There you go. TNA was actually what I watched so far was pretty good. I have watched. I started watching it like just the first match, and it looks pretty good so far. Um, so Sting wins the lumberjack match between him and Bobby Roode, and basically sets up which I was kind of surprised that Off the Rope show couldn't guess that Sting was going to face Bobby Roode. Because as soon as they said that last week, I'm like, so Sting versus Bobby Roode Slammiversary. Let's just hope they don't make the mistake of giving Sting the belt at Slammiversary, which I think would be a bad idea. Now, what I think should happen would be this would be the perfect opportunity for somebody like a Bully Ray to get interjected into the main event scene right now. Is for him to come down, basically interfere, cost Sting the world title, start a feud like that, and then after he gets done with his feud with Sting, which would probably be brief and sweet, um, he come back and say, I didn't save you from Sting for, any other purpose but to get me closer to the world championship, things like that, and then maybe interject Bully Ray into the world title scene. Now I think, I was thinking about this the other day. If they wanted Bobby Roode to have a longer reign as a world heavyweight champion and actually be, you can say, everlasting, where you could actually make that reign be longer and people could tolerate it, is to have him do a face turn. Now, would this be good for the company? I think it would, because if you put a guy in there like Bully Ray, who is, people have got to admit that he's a tremendous heel. He can work really good as a heel, but if you put him as a babyface, he will not get over. I just don't think he'll get over, especially with that gimmick. I don't think it'd be a good idea for them to make him a babyface, and I don't think it would work. So if they turn Bobby Roode face somehow, I wouldn't know how you do it. I guess basically just a brutal beatdown by Bully Ray, or to have him maybe beat down somebody and Bobby Roode comes to the rescue for some reason. I don't know why. But I think if Bully Ray were to, somehow, they need to give him the opportunity, because I do think, 5 years ago, if you would have asked me, about Bully Ray and said, you think he could main event a pay-per-view in any company, and I would have said, hell no, he sucks. He can't main event. But then now I think he's really proven that he can main event and be, a quality performer in a main event level. I really do think that he is actually a main event talent now. But you have to put him in as a heel. You can't put him as a babyface because it will not work. That's what happened in WWE. They tried to make him a babyface, and it did not work. He works great as a heel. He can piss people off like no other. He can get over as that kind of character. But as soon as you turn him babyface, it kills his career. It'll kill his character. He just can't do it. He's just, and that's something about a wrestler that if they can work, both face and heel, that just truly shows how great of a wrestler they really are. If they can work both sides and be popular or be hated, either way. Now, if one person is a one-dimensional character, which it's okay, but after a certain amount of time, you have to do something with their character, change it up, And the bad thing about Bully Ray is I think he works as a face, but he has to be in a tag team or something for it to be good, because he'd have to be like, oh yeah, come on, what do you want to hear, fans? Ooh. And he'd be like a corny baby face. He wouldn't be a baby face that I think people could get behind. Now, if he would just change his name and be back to something else, like just call himself Bubba Ray again, and that way turn babyface. It might work, but I just think and be basically a badass, doing the same character basically he's doing, but just basically say he doesn't want to be a bully anymore. That might work too. But I just think at some point in time, like probably in the next 4 to 5 months, maybe turning Bobby Roode face to have a Bully Ray face him as a heel, in his best work. Bully Ray could do that. He'll and actually be world heavyweight champion. I could see Bully Ray being the guy that's always been behind Bobby Roode, always been the guy behind him, always been watching his back, and then him be the guy to beat Bobby Roode for the world championship. I mean, what other guy would help elevate his career, by beating Bobby Roode, by being the guy that's been behind him this whole damn time, and then basically be the only guy that can beat Bobby Roode. That'd be amazing. I mean, what wonders it would do for the character of Bully Ray. I mean, seriously. I mean, it would like skyrocket to the moon. He would be like like an instant like icon in TNA. Which I mean he already almost is. So I just think it would elevate him, and it would instantly make him a main eventer. If he would beat Bobby Roode for the world championship clean, or at least semi clean. It would definitely elevate him to be a main eventer like automatically. Now another thing I was gonna talk about. Like I said, I'm not really gonna talk about what I think is gonna happen because WWE, you never know. I will say this about WWE. I'll switch to WWE right now and talk about the 3-hour thing that happened. I didn't really talk about it when I did the review last week, is because it's not really relevant right now. We don't know. There's been a lot of time to talk about it, and people have talked about it now. And there's pros, and there's cons people were saying they can't make a show now. Why give them 3 hours? I do think it might get a little better, though. And just the fact that they'll be able to do more storylines. And I did listen to, I believe it was Don and Tony Castle show, or whatever you want to call it. The TV tracks. So if you ever heard TV tracks, they have some cool things. I'm sure if you're a wrestling fan, you've seen those links and everything. Basically has a lot of interviews with wrestlers, and they'll talk about Raw and things, about what's happening in the business right now and then what's in the past that's happened. But they were talking about the 3-hour slot, and they said something about basically, if they wanted to do a 20-minute segment, like somebody talking, Triple H, Big Show, whatever, seeing it come out and waste a lot of time at the beginning of the show, wouldn't kill the show. You would still have 2.5 hours worth of wrestling. You can still get on the show, so it wouldn't hurt anybody. And plus, all these talent that's being held back, like an Alex Riley, Tyler Rex, Titus O'Neil, Darren Young. I mean, you can go on and on. Heath Slater would have more time to come out there and perform. Justin Gabriel. I don't even know who's in WWE anymore. They keep firing people left and right. But there's a lot of great talent now in the WWE, and I think now is actually the time where I hope to God they don't release anybody they have right now, because I think basically everybody they got right now they're in good shape. They don't need to release anybody right now, to be quite honest. Well, there may be a masked man that needs to go bye-bye, but we won't say anything about that guy. I don't know. See the return of him probably this week on Raw, since he returned on SmackDown. Sorry. Anyway. Yes, the return of Sin Cara. Everybody knows by now. I don't know what to think of Sin Cara. I really just don't see the big hype about him, but I don't think anybody else has bought into the hype either. Just little kids want the masks, and that's why they're keeping him, because they're probably $60, $70 masks or something they're selling on WWE.com, WWE.com probably. So yeah, but back to TNA. So it came to me the other day. It's they got a lot of main eventers, and at one point they're gonna have to let some go. So which main eventers should go back to WWE right now? I mean, right now, yes, they need to develop talent, but they need some main event level people right now. Because some of the people they got in place, yes, they are future main eventers, but they're not ready. There are some people in the power. Well, even if people think they might be ready, the powers to be do not think that they're ready, or the creative team do not think that they're ready for them to go to the next level. So whether you like it or not, Rob Van Dam would probably be a good candidate to come back to WWE. Do some storylines with CM Punk, Daniel Bryan. Then you got, I honestly think it's time for Mr. Anderson to come back. They have been TNA has had their opportunity so many times with this guy, and he's gotten injured. I know one time, and then some other times, basically, they tell him they don't have anything for him. It's just like, dude, this guy is over. He's like the Rock of our generation, and they're wasting his time. They're wasting time with Mr. Anderson. He needs to get out of there. Mr. Anderson is the number one pick that I want to go back to the WWE. He needs to get back there. He needs to get back there quick because he's just wasting time in TNA. His career is going to dwindle. He's not doing anything that's worth anything. He's the one guy that needs to be in the WWE, and I don't know what happened the first time around, but I just think he needs to go back there. Or his career, he's not doing anything, and he's way, way too much of a great talent to not be used correctly. Like Rob Van Dam, he's had his time. He's did his big feuds. He's had his time in wrestling. I'm sure he's got some time left, but same thing with Sting. I don't think Sting will ever go to WWE. If anything, he might do like a little short little angle with WWE just to get put in the Hall of Fame. But I don't think he'll ever do like a major contract. Yeah. I just don't see it coming. Hogan, he's been around the bush. He's done. He's not going to wrestle anymore. Flair, same thing. They're getting old. They're past their prime. They won't be able to step in the ring anymore and do that kind of action anymore. Jeff Hardy, he's had his bridges with the WWE. He's burned a lot of bridges. They're probably have to wait, at least 5 more years or something before they want to bring him back in to WWE. I mean, who knows? He may show up sooner than that, but I think he will end up back in WWE at some point. They'll bring him back. He's too good of a talent to just ignore and not ever bring back. Other guys, I don't know. Like, I don't think they would ever give up any other guys. And, a lot of guys that came up in the company, I don't think they would ever leave. And there's been talks about James Storm leaving and that he's been offered, but I just don't think he would leave. I actually think, if The Undertaker leaves, or his like kind of thing, the one guy, and I think that nobody really says anything about, if one guy were to beat The Undertaker's streak, if he was going to basically, let's say, replace that dark character in the WWE, Undertaker going out, the one man that I would love to see go to the WWE and have a long program with The Undertaker, have Undertaker do one last hurrah and do a huge storyline with this guy, would be Abyss. He could come in. He's already played up as a main eventer. They wouldn't have any problem putting him over. I mean, people would get it. They would understand. If people knew of TNA, they would, they would. If I were them, I would bring him in with somebody else from TNA. Use him as a manager, even if they're not a manager. Bring him in as a manager. And the perfect example it would be AJ or Alex Shelley. If they were going to bring in, which they got a storyline right now with Abyss, so they're not going to bring him in right now. But I mean, a perfect example would be to bring in somebody like Abyss with an Alex Shelley, somebody like that, or an X Division star, and have him be a manager when they first come in. And bring him in and talk for him and do all the stuff and talk about we came from this other company and so and we're ready for challenges and we know one man who is undefeated and blah blah at WrestleMania and it's something that would really start the storyline off and Abyss come in and really basically tell the story of where he came from and basically he would be right there right in the main event, huge star right off the bat and have him have a feud. Have him be the one to beat The Undertaker. I mean, who wouldn't think that that's not a credible person to beat The Undertaker would be Abyss. And I think Undertaker would, I think that he would agree to that. I mean, Undertaker's all about business anyway. He would agree to it. Because what I heard, he's all about business. If Abyss is a younger guy coming in and he's got, about 10 years or 15 years left on his career and he's going to be able to do all this stuff, hell, bring in Abyss. Let him do this stuff. Because, I mean, I think Abyss, if he beat The Undertaker, it would instant. He'd turn into a main eventer, But, I think he's one of the guys that can come in and go right into the main event scene and people would have no no really like disagreement on that, and then he could come in and work with a Kane and an Undertaker and I mean hell, you could actually bring him in, feud with Kane, and that would lead to ultimately him fighting the Undertaker at WrestleMania. And ending his streak, that would be like a huge thing where him, basically to manhandle Kane, come in and be the only guy to ever do that, and basically, him and Kane kind of Kane becomes afraid, of Abyss basically destroying him, and he's going to end his career, and he keeps threatening that upon Kane, and the Undertaker comes back, and it was just a crazy storyline. I think it would work. I think it would work with Abyss, bring him in WWE. I don't know. I mean, they couldn't use the Abyss character. They'd probably call him something else, but I'm sure they can come up with a cool name. um, but I think that. There's a lot of guys, but I think that the one guy that was gonna leave, it would be Abyss, because he's a big man. He can only do so much. He did a lot in TNA, and I mean it's to the point where it's like, what else is he gonna do? It's kind of probably time for him to move on. It's time for him to go to WWE, and do something over there, because I think he would fit well in with the WWE, and how they like the big guys, and he's a very impact kind of guy, and he'll come in and make a huge impact in WWE like right away. He can come in and work with a John Cena and, lay him out. He can actually be a guy who could actually make John Cena, look tremendous in the ring, and come in and, work with him, and, you know, uh, come in and basically, hell, like he'd be John Laurinaitis hitman or something, and come in and, put John Cena out for like 6 months and be that guy. And then finally John Cena comes back after Abyss is already, basically, a main eventer. Has already established himself. John Cena could come back, and fight him, and it would actually elevate, them both up together. So there you go. I just think that's Abyss is a character that could do that. Any other guys? I don't think a Bobby Roode would be leaving James Storm. No, Samoa Joe would be the only thing that I would think maybe, because they're not using him right either. He should be a main eventer right now. So I'm saying a lot of people, they got, and they're not even using him in main event storylines. They're using him in like they're having like Kurt Angle and everybody face, and Jeff Hardy and all these people. It's like, yeah, that's great. They're main event, but they're not TNA bred. They're not born and bred in TNA. They need to be doing those guys a favor for being loyal to the company, or they're going to jump ship. And you don't want younger guys to go to the WWE, because a lot of these younger guys, they'll get in there. I mean, they'll like the WWE so much that they won't want to go back to that indie circuit. They won't want to go back to a place like TNA. And Christian is one of those people who I don't think will ever return to that kind of atmosphere again, because they just didn't use him correctly. And they're not using him correctly now. But that's beside the point. He's probably more happier in the WWE right now and things like that. So I think I talked about all I want to talk about. I'm just kind of ranting here, talk about different storylines. I think people coming from TNA should go to WWE. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Abyss, RVD. What else was I saying? Mr. Anderson, the return of Mr. Kennedy, be awesome. I'd be jizzing in my pants right now. I'll tell you right now. Yeah, somebody playing 80s music in the car. Really awesome. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been Crazy Wrestling Review, a day before Raw. Yes, rock and roll and Sin Cara forever. Yeah, later.